don't really care whether the facts are there or not.
This is entirely unfair because you just said circumstantial evidence favors that this was not an Israeli airstrike.
Yeah.
I gave you all of the circumstantial evidence that it does favor that this is an Israeli airstrike. The reason why, however, circumstantial evidence is not enough. And the one thing that I will concede to, because when more information did come out, and no, I do not mean when Israel said that they did not bomb this hospital and it was actually Hamas, and then they turned around and went, never mind, it's not Hamas, it's actually Islamic Jihad. And then they said, we have more evidence coming out in a couple hours. And then the evidence came out, and it turns out it sounded like the phone conversations that they were able to intercept, supposedly, sounded like, by experts at the very least, to be completely false and completely made up.
Yeah, but Hassan, I don't think, listen, in all honesty, I don't think, even as you're saying all this, I think you're a smart guy.
Piers, let me finish.
I think you've looked at all of this, and I think in your heart, you know this was probably not an Israeli airstrike. And I'm just curious why you would, instead of admitting that as facts change,
that is
your
not
opinion
what I'm
change.
saying. That is not what I'm saying at all.
I don't understand why you would double and treble down when the evidence is pointing the other way.
You're asking me to be on your show. Do you want to talk?
Yes.
If you're asking me to be on your show, and I want to be on the show, thank you so much for having me on your show. Let me explain exactly what I said, and let me explain to you why I think still, to this very moment, until there is a third-party investigation that is concluded by the UN, the International Criminal Court, or specifically a forensic analyst that looks at the situation, is allowed to be on the ground. This is not just my perspective. This is B'Tselem as well, which is an Israeli organization that has also demanded a third-party investigation occur. I am not going to conclusively say that this was not Israel's fault.
I don't expect you to.
Because I just gave you, and not because I'm a propagandist. As far as me being a propagandist goes, everyone is a propagandist. I'm just honest about it. You're a propagandist. We have our biases.
I'm curious who you think I'm a propagandist for.
Honest about my biases.
Who do you think I'm a propagandist for?
Who do I think you're a propagandist?
We show to the world a phone call between two terrorists in Gaza.
Okay, let me quickly deconstruct that lie that Israel's spewing. She says Israel and America have come to the conclusion that definitely was Hamas in a recording. Israel and America, who don't speak Arabic, came to the conclusion that that was in fact Hamas in a recording. And if you've ever listened to a Palestinian speak, that is not their accent. Any Arab can point out a Palestinian from a mile away. They have a very distinct accent, and they have very distinct words that they use. And my Arabic speakers, please comment and let me know if you can pick out the Palestinian in a group of 100 people, because I know you definitely can. When you listen to the audio, you can hear them struggling to speak Arabic. And if you've ever heard an Israeli say Hamas, they say Hamas. And if you listen to the audio, you can tell that they're not speaking Arabic clearly and that they're struggling with a lot of the words that only native Arabic speakers can actually pronounce. And if you've heard the video or the audio, I'm sorry, please comment below and let me know what you think. And if you haven't, I suggest that you find it and still let me know what you think, because it's hilarious. That's what they're trying to pass off as Palestinian language. And hint, it's actually not Palestinian, and it's very, very likely Israeli.
All right, Sid, so you're saying Hezbollah is the one that hit the hospital, right? And I got to get my facts straight. So, first of all, see that? That means air defense. See that? That also means air defense. Air defense officer for 15 years for the Army. And I use similar systems as Israel, because we have the same makers, Lockheed Martin and Raytheon. I was Patriot missile systems most of the time, also a little bit of CRAM stuff. But, so, I don't even have to look this up to know that it's totally wrong, because their range for their best missiles, probably the Scud B and Cs, barely can make it if they were on the border of Israel. And then you have to get through the Iron Dome system, which is similar to our systems. It's 3 levels of altitude for missile systems. And then that has a 97% success rate. Iron Dome is really good because we made it. And so yeah, I don't know if your uncle told you this or Newsmax. I don't know who told you this, but that's totally wrong. Even if IDF said that was right, I wouldn't believe it because of this. I know what I'm talking about. I've done it. I've tested it. I've shot it. So yeah, find a news source, man.
So the Israeli propaganda is in full effect right now. They're desperately trying to convince the world that they didn't bomb Ahali Hospital and kill 500 Palestinians. But unfortunately for them, this segment on Channel 4 News tore apart their lie in about a minute.
They present what they say is 2 Hamas operatives talking about the attack. Hamas call this an obvious fabrication. Two independent Arab journalists told us the same thing because of the language, accent, dialect, syntax and tone, none of which is, they say, credible. Equally, Israel claims the Islamic Jihad failed missile was fired from here, a cemetery very close to the hospital. But look again at the video of the event. The trajectory of the missile doesn't line up with that location. Too high, too horizontal. Confusingly, the Israelis' presentation also says the missile was fired from a location down in the southwest. It can't be both.
Also, at one point, Israel was taking credit for the hospital bombing and saying they did it because Hamas was hiding inside. They only changed their story once they realized the world was appalled that they killed 500 civilians. Dude, it is so obvious who is lying in this situation. And the media is just uncritically parroting what Israeli apartheid regime officials are telling them. Other than Channel 4 News, I guess, so shout out to them.
Fake news. That was a failure launching a missile by Hamas while using the people in hospital as human shields. Learned your fact. Now, this was a tweet that they took down by somebody that works in Israel. Israeli Air Force struck a Hamas terrorist base inside a hospital in Gaza. This was by somebody that works for Israel. A multiple number of terrorists are ended. Hamas is launching rockets from hospitals, mosques, schools, and using civilians as human shields. So why would they post this and then take it down? It's because they got caught doing a war crime, and then they've been posting a bunch of footage showing two different things. One is a rocket going this way, and then another rocket is coming back down. Which one's real? They're both saying that both of those rockets are real and that they're both hitting the hospital and they're done by Hamas. But this is Israel literally taking blame for striking the hospital. And then they took this tweet down. But here's the tweet. So yeah, I did my homework. And the only dog I have in this fight is I don't want any other human lives to be ended. Can you say the same for your side? One more thing, because a lot of people think that I'm standing with Hamas. I am not. Hamas is terrorism. But Israel bombed a hospital. They said they did. And then they took this tweet down, which is also terrorism.